Hello, welcome back to the lab and another edition of Random Information
that nobody asked for.
Alright, so James and I were thinking, and we were trying to figure out what can we do another video on that would be more random. That is the name of it, right? Random Information.
Yeah, that is the name of it.
What can we do that would be more random than antique bottles?
How about talking about fish? Because fish after antique bottles is pretty random.
Alright, so we're going to go with fish. Now, I actually had a project that I've been wanting to do for a while for this aquarium. So this is my 70-gallon aquarium. I've had it set up for probably 2 or 3 years now. And swimming around in here are some rainbow fish. There's one hill stream loach you may see, but he usually stays hidden. And these rainbow fish are actually a fish that you see pretty often in big box stores. These came from Petco, and when you see them in the store, they're very young, and so they just look like a basic, like a crappie minnow, like you'd buy to go fishing with. So they don't look all that colorful, and I'm sure most people look at them and go, why would I buy those? They're so plain, what's the point? Well, the cool thing about rainbow fish is, except for the fact they grow very slow, you give them time, they get fairly large, and they actually get some pretty bright colors. These are Australian rainbows, and these are actually some of the least colorful in the family.
Yeah.
There's a lot of others that have really bright reds. There's some that like the whole back half of their body is yellow. The front half is kind of a silver. Those are pretty cool. So there's a lot of different varieties of rainbow fish that come from different places. A lot of them are found in Australia, Papua New Guinea. There's a whole family of rainbow fish. And these guys, this aquarium has been through a lot. It had a cyanobacteria bloom. I've actually just treated it again. That bloom really hurt the plants that were in it pretty hard. The fish were also really hard on the plants, ripped them all out. So
now there's absolutely no plants in that.
Yeah, it's barren. It's rock and glass. So I'm working on fixing that. I bought some stuff where I can do water changes a lot more often. But back when we had plants, these fish were very often trying to spawn. If you came up here early in the morning, turn the lights on, you would see them trying to lay eggs on the plants. The problem was I had corridors in there, which are in the catfish family, and will eat the eggs. Yeah. I had some guppies in there at the time,
which will eat the eggs.
They're omnivores, they'll eat the eggs. And I had the rainbow fish themselves in a small area. Likely you'll never get any fry because they'll eat the eggs. They'll eat them too.
Yeah, so, pretty much everything eats the eggs.
Yeah, we'd really like to have a bigger school of these though.
Because we've only got like 5 in there.
There's only 5. And while I could go buy some more and wait for them to grow up, well, that's no fun. Anybody can do that. So what we decided to do is we're going to see if we can get these guys to spawn again. And to do that, we're going to take advantage of the fact that there's no plants, because we can probably control where we get them to lay the eggs.
Yes.
So we're going to make some spawning mops, put them in there, and see if we can get them to lay eggs. I already have another 5-gallon aquarium set up.
Wait a minute, what are spawning mops?
Spawning mops are basically some fake plants that we're going to make to see if we can get them to lay eggs on them. Then we're going to take those out. As soon as they lay the eggs, we're going to put them in the 5-gallon aquarium where there are no other fish. There's nothing that can eat them. I have a filter already ready we can put on this 5-gallon that's been sitting in the 20-gallon. And we're going to see if we can get these eggs to hatch out and raise the fry up. Again, they grow slow, so we can leave them in the 5-gallon for a long time. Then as they get bigger, we'll move them maybe to the 20-gallon. We'll move them around as they get larger.
And like basically, our large fish are in the 70-gallon, our small fish are in the 5-gallon, and our medium-sized fish are in the 20-gallon.
Yeah, actually they're kind of just different purposes, right? So the 70-gallon was for the big rainbow fish. They had more room to swim around because they swim a lot. The 20-gallon was more for the guppies and some of the other stuff. The 5-gallon, I had a beta in for years, but he was really old. And he finally died.
Mine fish.
Yeah, and he finally died. So we're going to repurpose the 5-gallon here. So we need to make some spawning mops. So how are we going to make spawning mops? The spawning mops are actually made out of...
I barely know what they are.
Alright, so it's just yarn. So we're going to make these out of yarn, and what we want to do is we want to make something that looks like a plant. So what I thought we could do, we're going to actually use these clamps, and what I want you to do, James, is we're going to just wrap yarn around these, kind of like you would if somebody held it. So we'll make them, I don't know how big they make. I've never made one of these. I've watched videos and seen people make them. So now what I need you to do, James, is take this yarn and just, we'll start right here. And this is where you're probably going to get bored. We'll do a time lapse on this. I just need you.
Double or what knife?
Oh, it's a quadruple single overhand special fish knot. No, just tie knot. It's really nice. Put your finger right there. There you go. Now weasel your finger out of there without letting it loose. There we go. Alright, so this is going to actually be the piece that we hang it from.
Hang?
Yeah. You suspend it. And now we need to cut all these. So take the scissors. You want to do it? I'm going to hold it. I'm going to try to get this separated, and then I'm going to pull it off of there, and I'm going to let you cut it. I've seen people do this using cardboard, and I would recommend getting on YouTube and doing this with cardboard. So now, cut this. Hold on. Right there in the middle. You don't have to do it all at once, just do it all the time.
That's cool.
I know. There you go. There you go. Welcome to this edition of James Learns to Use Scissors.
Hey!
Alright, now let's find our knot so we know where we're hanging this from. It's these two right here. Now what I want to do is pull these down and take some more string. You can use this piece right here. And wrap it around the top right there and tie it really tight so that it makes sense. Because what I want to do is I want to make them all hang down like that. Like a mop. You can get these out. That tight about it, but alright. Appreciate your enthusiasm.
Wrapped a couple more times.
That's tight up.
Why would you try to do that? Because it's tie a shoe.
There you go. Good job. Let's trim those. Because you know we don't want it to look messy.
Dad.
Hey, you know what? We're just gonna let those float down with everything else. Alright, so there we go. We have a big spawning mop. We have a little spawning mop. That actually probably looks a little more plant-like. And we're gonna go wash these good and soak them, and then we'll
There, I made it look more
we'll
plant-like.
show them to you in the aquarium.
Dump it in, James. So James is feeding some shrimp. And trust me, they're gonna love these as soon as they realize they're in the water.
As soon as they smell them or whatever they do.
Yep,
Okay.
look at that. They're already,
First one found it, now they're on to them.
yep, they're on them now.
Yeah.
So they've had a good meal, they've got a water change, they've already been checking out our spawning mops. And we actually turned the lights on, the timer had already turned them off for
Have
tonight.
you got the blue creme over there ready for them?
Oh yeah. So here we have some small hatched out rainbow fish. These are about a month old. Now these are actually not the first batch from the spawning mops. These are actually our second because it is now 8 months from the clip you just saw. So here, this is actually our second batch. We've had a little bit better luck with it. We've been hatching baby brine shrimp to feed them. So we're getting a little higher survivability rate. And I don't know how many are in there, maybe 30 or 40 are swimming around. And they're kind of hard to see. It's hard to keep it focused on them because they dart around so much. But you can see where I've still got the spawning mops in there from these guys, and they've hatched out. And now we're going to go take a look at the first batch, which is actually, they've gotten fairly large, and we've moved everybody around in some of the aquariums. So let's go look at them. All right, James, tell us what we got going on in here.
So, we have the first hatch of rainbow fish. We didn't have a very good survivability rate, so we only got a couple out of like the 30 or 40, maybe a bunch more than that that actually originally hatched. But as you just saw, the brine shrimp are really helping keep those alive, the other ones alive. So we really needed to start doing a water change. The big sponge, what was it, sponge filter?
It wasn't here yet.
Yeah, the sponge filter, we actually changed that to a couple of other different types of filters.
Well, now there's a big sump on this aquarium.
I guess there's also a big sump on this aquarium, which really helps.
But these guys are doing great. So right now we can tell we have what appear to be 3 males. I think there were 8 or 9 total that we put in here. And it looks like we've got at least 3 males. Some of them, 8. Some of them are still small enough. We can't quite tell yet. Their fins aren't coloring up, and the fin shape actually changes. So that's how these guys are doing. Now let's show you the 20 gallon, and I'll tell you the story about what happened and why these guys now get this aquarium to themselves. Okay, so these are the remnants of the 5 fish that you saw at the beginning of this video. So we haven't figured out exactly what happened, but each of the other 3 females that we had developed what appeared to be a swim bladder issue in succession that only got worse no matter how we treated it. We tried all kinds of things to treat it, and they just progressively got worse. We just lost the last one, and what we finally believe we've concluded is the big guy in here that's sitting in the middle not moving, the other guy swimming around, he's a bully. And I think the problem was the ratio of fish was wrong, so every time a female would try to lay eggs, he would end up basically hurting her and cause damage to her swim bladder by pinning her to the ground, and ended up killing all 3 of them. So right now, the little fry you saw that are in the small aquarium and the ones that are growing out in the big are the only females we have. And these guys have become ornament fish because they're a little too aggressive. Usually rainbow fish aren't known for being aggressive, but I think it's because the stocking ratio was weird. Maybe we should have separated the males earlier. But I'm pretty sure that that big guy in there is, quite frankly, well, he's a murderer, because I'm pretty sure he's killed him. So, appreciate you watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. And hey, it only took us like 8 months to put this video together, so maybe the next one won't take us quite as long.